Hi, and welcome to Cupcake class, where we will be learning how to decorate cupcakes in a very simple yet beautiful and easy way. Today we have started first with a box cake mix chocolate, and we just followed the directions on the cake mix, and then I made a cream cheese frosting. Now the reason why I want to show you cupcake decoration today is that first, growing up, I never liked cake, and I actually never liked icing either on cake, so I was never a fan. And that's what got me into making cakes and frosting them, to make it something that I could enjoy. So now I've actually come to appreciate and enjoy making cupcakes, which is a lot more fun, a lot easier, and you can still get all the decorations and still make some very delicious cake. So we're first gonna get started. I'm going to show you what kind of tips that we're using and also what kind of outcome that we want to have. Today we want to create the classic swirl of a cupcake, and then we also want to create the rose. We'll also go into a little variation of the rose as well. So I'm showing you the two tips that we want to be using today. And the first one is the crown tip. You can see the prongs hopefully there. And then we're going to be using this flower. It has 6 little dips. It looks like a flower. And I'll tell you what each one does as we're making them. All right, so first I'm going to demonstrate how we want to fill our icing bag. Now you can see I'm cupping my hand, pushing it all the way through, and so that the tip is kind of just resting on my palm. That gives me a little bit better control because I want to really get it in there easily. And as you can see, we have 3 colors. We're going to be using a yellow, a pink, and this teal blue to match our cupcake liners. Anyhow, so with doing a tricolor bag, we're going to want to place each color in and then build up from there. So I'm going to start out with our yellow. I just take a knife, a butter knife, because it's really slender. It can get deep down in there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and push it in and wipe it against the bag on 1/3. Now I left an opening on the other half, so that leaves me pockets to add the other colors. I'm gonna take the pink and slide it right down. I'm just gonna push it all the way down there with the yellow. And I'm just going to bring this back up a little bit. And now I'm going to take my blue. I'm going to put it in that last. Now, if you don't see any room, just kind of push it in there next to the other colors. And as you can see, my knives are getting dirty, which is fine. And now, as you can see, it looks pretty full. I'm just letting, now you can see the tip is coming a little bit further down my wrist because I'm going to build on top of this. So I'm going to put the yellow in on the side. I wipe it against my thumb because that's easiest. I'm going to take my pink, top it up. I'm going to wipe it against one of my fingers here that's holding it. I'm going to take my blue and wipe it up against here. You don't want to fill up the bag too full because it's harder to manage and make a nice shape with it. So I'm only going to use half of our icing. We can always go back and refill our bag. So you can see there's 2 colors, and I'm going to add my 3rd. I'm going to twist it a little bit so I can wipe it against my finger here. And then you can see I'm going to add a little bit more blue. And you can see all 3 colors there. All right. So we're going to set these aside to allow for some decorating time. All right, so the icing is not all the way down in the tip, so we want to go ahead and push it down. And I brought a plate so I could show you. When we first, and you twist the bag as well, when you first start squeezing out the color, it's gonna usually just be one color, so we want to keep squeezing out that one color until we get to see the other colors start to show. You see that? So the color is starting to show. All right, that's beautiful. Now we can start decorating. All right, so this tip, the one with the crown, is our classic cupcake swirl. And with this one, we want to start from the outer edge of the cupcake and work our way in, building as we go, so it makes a kind of a tower. You don't want it to get too close to the edge because that means you're gonna have to end up using a little bit more icing and you're not gonna get as much height. So, as you can see, we have this nice height on it and a pretty swirl. I'm gonna show you, now you see that it doesn't cover all the cupcake. I'm gonna show you an example of where we try to cover the entire cupcake and show you the difference. It's not gonna, looks a little bit flatter. Let me show you. So you see that it doesn't get as much height. So that's why you often see in a bakery where it shows a little bit more cupcake. I'm gonna demonstrate that one more time. And you just go nice and slow, and then you release once you get to the top. Like so, look at that beautiful swirl. Now I would like to show you our rose. Our rose is different in that it has a couple of differences. It is a flower tip looking, and instead of starting from the outside and going in, we're gonna go from the inside and go out as we make a swirl. So let me show you. And it's almost like drawing an E. So we're gonna start with the middle bud, and we're just gonna go, and as you come to the edge, you just let go and release to make it a little bit smooth. And here you have a flower. As you see, I didn't go all the way to the edge either with this one, just because it requires more frosting. With the frosting, I did do 1.5 version, or I made a little bit more than just one recipe. I didn't double it, I made 1.5 quantity. So there you have the rose. Next, I want to show you something that you can, really fun that you can do with the rose tip. So we're gonna make a smaller rose. So instead of going at the center or at the very edge, we're just gonna start from the little, we're gonna meet halfway. And we're going to make a swirl where we make a tiny rose. Now that's a little bit messy because I had it tipped instead of just being at you guys. So let me go ahead and try this one, where we just make a small rose in the little corner. You see that? Now, with this fancy tip, the same one, you could also go straight down and create a flower, a star flower. So I'm just gonna press here, push and release. Go into the other corner, press and release, and do one in the middle. Press and release. Now you have this swirly kind of looking flower, but we still have holes. So what I did is I got a smaller version of this star where you see it's 5 little prongs. Looks like a star. And with this one, we're just gonna pipe it into the little holes. So let me show you a little closer. Just gonna pipe it into little holes. Just push down, squeeze, and pull away. And if you can get it in there a little bit closer, you got all these little, you got a little garden going. See that? Look how pretty that is. Now you have learned 3 ways, simple and easy, very beautiful ways to decorate cupcakes. First we have the classic swirl. Let me show you the classic swirl. And that one was done with the crown looking tip. Then we have our beautiful rose, and that was done with the flower tip. And then we have with the same rose tip, but you can do with a little rose, a flower just going straight up, and then the smaller version of the rose tip, just these little flowers. I hope you enjoyed, and now you have all the rest of these cupcakes to practice on, and you can become a pro. Good luck.